Hi friends! Today we're going to be talking about 5 of what could be called the worst D&D subclasses that you could choose in your game. Obviously this is a lot of opinion, but I have a lot of history and experience with playing D&D and complaining, so I feel like I'm pretty well suited to pick this. But because this is opinion, a lot of you are going to disagree with me, so I'm very excited to see what things you shout at me in the comments. But I'm even more excited to hear if you know any cool synergies that these abilities have with other classes, and maybe together we can make them worth something, you know what I mean? Now there are chapters below if you wanted to skip around, but before we get into that, I wanted to share something really fast and really personal. This year I've experienced a lot of hard and terrible things, but I've also experienced a lot of great things. My entire life I've struggled with addiction in many forms. I've had to quit drinking alcohol. I haven't had a drink in about 3 years now. But unfortunately, when I quit drinking alcohol, I went heads deep into other addictions that I had to make it feel better. But unfortunately, they steamrolled into something that I couldn't control. But the great news is, as of about 8 days ago, I've been a year clean from opiates. Now, I've used them on and off for a while, probably since I was 19. But when I was sobering up from alcohol, I was having a really difficult time sleeping. All the night sweats and the muscle spasms and just the overall shittiness that you feel from drying up was hard to deal with, and I didn't ask for help, so I instead became very, very, very addicted to Oxy, Percocet, Norco. I took Kratom it was about 75 grams of Kratom a day. Also, by the way, stay the fuck away from Kratom. That stuff is absolutely evil and insanely toxic and very, very addicting. So trying to get off it, I would go into withdrawal to do cold turkey to just try to get out of my system, and it was the most miserable I've ever been. Because of how miserable it is, you stay in the cycle. You'll just go get it again. You'll get it or take it from elderly family members. You'll get it from people you've never met. You'll take pills off of strangers' hands, like they're feeding a little junky horse a sugar cube. And because of how uncomfortable withdrawal was for me, I was never gonna get off it. But thankfully, I was told the best piece of advice I've ever gotten from a counselor, actually. So if you're sitting watching this video at 4 a.m. because you're withdrawing off of opiates and you can't sleep because the muscles in your body are spasming and the sweats are driving you insane, before you do something you'll regret, and before you use to make it go away, go to the ER. They make medicine nowadays that stops withdrawal in like 20 minutes. I, of course, am not a doctor. I'm not telling you or anybody specifically that that's what they need, but it's what I need. It's what I needed. And because of it, I was able to quit on the spot. I got to go home and sleep that night when the last 2 nights before I only slept 45 minutes each. God, I'm getting teared up. So as much as I thank you for the 4 a.m. doom view, go to the ER. Go to the ER. There's help. People care. This is fixable. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way and talk about that since I passed my first year, so I'm pretty stoked. And I tell you, the first time someone asks you if you've used and you say no and it isn't a lie, best feeling you'll ever get. Alright, so the first one on our list of terrible D&D subclasses is a little barbarian that was introduced in a module called Adventures of the Sword's Coast. And as soon as I said that, I know a lot of people know exactly what I'm talking about. In Dwarven, the name is Koljaga, which I'm definitely butchering, but it's literally Dwarven for Axe Idiot, which tells you immediately that this is a joke class and they're not taking it seriously. The Barbarian Battle Rager is a class that is, at least I think, inspired by wrestling, but doesn't execute on wrestling maneuvers at all. First off, they restricted it to dwarves only, which doesn't make much sense to me, and it's very archaic in D&D to restrict things to a specific race. I mean, when I first played 2nd edition, dwarves couldn't be wizards. kind of racist, but moving on, I guess. So a Battle Rager Barbarian is a barbarian that specializes in putting on a specific piece of armor that has spikes in it. So when he bear hugs people, it hurt. So when you choose this class, you immediately get your new piece of equipment called Spiked Armor. It's a piece of medium armor with an AC of 14, so your dex could add to up to 2 points of AC on it, and you get disadvantage on stealth rolls, but you're a barbarian, so that's not too much of an issue. But because you're wearing armor, you don't get the unarmored abilities that some barbarians would get, like adding your constitution to your AC. That goes out the door. But it's a 14 AC. It's not that bad at the 3rd level that you get it, but there is 0 growth to the armor whatsoever. When you have this armor on, you're able to use your bonus action to do an additional special attack with your shoulder spikes, using your strength modifier and using a d4 dice. And if you successfully grapple somebody, they take automatically 3 points of piercing damage, which also doesn't grow. Moving on up to 6th level, we get Reckless Abandon, which gives you temporary hit points if you use Reckless Attack. Not the worst skill at all. It adds your Constitution modifier into temporary HP every time you use your Reckless Attack, giving a little bit of a padding. And at 10th level, we get Battle Rager Charge, which just lets you use the dash action as a bonus action while you're raging. Boo. And at 14th level, we now get the ability to do our 3 points of piercing damage to anybody that hits us, as long as they're 5 feet away and we are raging. So yeah, there is a lot wrong with this. To fix it, first of all, the spike armor's damage has to grow. It just absolutely has to. Each one of these abilities, at each ability, it should go up a new damage die. It should go to a d6 level 5, a d8 at 11, and then d10 at 14. Who cares? Level 14, we're casting Banishment and Holy Strikes and shit. Like, he can have a d10. Second, the 3 points of piercing has to get better at some point. That is the worst scaling I've ever seen. Hell, if they got rid of the 3 points of piercing and just had it do your proficiency modifier amount of piercing a little better, still not getting too much out of it. Can you imagine growing a level 20 barbarian to elite level 20 fighting Taraths and shit, and then you're doing 3 points of piercing, non-magical piercing damage? Trash. Garbage. The Reckless Bandit ability at level 6 is cool. I like it. I also believe that all of the piercing damage should go up, and the die that you use your piercing armor damage also should go up. Level 10 Battle Rager, being able to dash with your bonus action is so bad. It's called Battle Rager Charger. Why not give them a charging ability? They can have the charger ability that you get from the feat charger. God, I've said charger so much. And then maybe the last person you hit with your charge, you get advantage on grappling them at the end of that if you hit them. Because you're supposed to be this badass grappler, and there's no abilities that augment grappling at all in this entire set. You have to take a feat to get better at grappling. That feat should come with you at level 3. Of all of the classes, I think this is the one that I have never seen anyone play ever. This is the one class that every person all unanimously say and agree, yeah, that's trash, no thank you. Our second subclass today, I don't think I'm going to be ruffling any feathers when I say that this was unnecessary and needs so much love. The Mastermind Rogue came out with the Xanthar's book as a subclass to give to a rogue that wants to use their intelligence over using dexterity to be more valuable in specific situations. There is an idea in there somewhere. This is a pretty good roleplay class, but it's just not a good roleplay class, if that makes any sense at all. They tried really hard to do something that isn't just rogue do sneak attack, and I get that, but they also came out with Inquisitor alongside with it. They share the same like book open. The Inquisitor's on the other side of the page on this guy, and it's so much better. Out the gate at level 3 with Master of Intrigue, you get to be proficient in disguise kits, which you probably already are. You get 2 additional languages, a gaming set, and the ability to copy someone's vocal patterns if you've listened to them talk for a minute. That's okay. That's cool, I guess. It's nothing huge. Every rogue subclass comes with 2 abilities at level 3 if you haven't noticed. One very good actionable one, and one very good passive one. And as far as role-playing goes with rogues, this isn't a bad idea. Very bard-ish, very master of disguise, very turtle club. But with master of tactics, it just slips. It's not very actionable and it's not very fun. You're able to use the help action as a bonus action, and you get range with it. Instead of being a touch help, you get a 30 feet help. Now, help is way different in D&D 5e than it is in Baldurs Gate. In Baldurs Gate, help actually does a lot. You can pick someone up from prone, you can stop them from being on fire, you can pull them out of being ensnared, you can pull them out of being restrained, you can stop them from being dazed, stop them from being off balance. But in D&D 5e, help really just gives someone an advantage on an ability check or helps them get advantage on an attack roll. And as the rogue, whose sneak attack is dependent on being able to attack with advantage, you're the one who needs help. Giving someone else help could be useful, but mostly if the other person is also a rogue. Sorry, I don't know I'm getting so passionate. Against this rogue class. Just slips the ball, it's boring. And then it gets Insightful Manipulator at level 9, making it even more boring. A lot of subclasses have specific ability types that I've noticed appear in subclasses when I feel like they don't know what kind of ability to give them, like Landstride. Landstride goes to so many different classes just because something needs to go there, I feel like. Rogues get Insightful Manipulator, which you can use outside of combat by observing a creature for over a minute. If you do that, you can ask the DM 2 questions in related to that creature's ability scores. You can find out if their intelligence, wisdom, or charisma is lower, higher, or equal to your score, or you can learn if their level is lower, higher, or equal to your score. Your level 9th ability is just doing a perception check. Huge missed opportunity. Very disappointing. I wish this was better. This is the ability that Battle Masters get that made Battle Masters boring to level up higher than 5. It's like the ability I don't want to have regardless of what I'm playing. It's unnecessary. At level 13, it's not too bad. Misdirection lets you push an attack meant for you onto another creature that's standing 5 feet from you. And all this costs is a reaction. This is good. This is okay. This would be a lot more fun if you got it way earlier than level 13. And at level 17, when wizards are learning the spell Wish and Meteor, you get Soul of Deceit, where if anyone tries to detect your thoughts, you are able to either block them out completely or give them misinformation, as well as basically making you immune to Zone of Truth or any other kind of magic that forces you to tell the truth. This is dumb. I hate this. Honestly, I feel like the 13th ability should have came at level 3. Soul of Deceit could come at level 9. It's catchy, it's fun, I guess, but again, how many people are going to level Rogue that high to use this ability that is so situational? You're almost max level of D&D. Do you really think a DM is going to cast Zone of Truth on you? The Detect Thoughts thing could be helpful, but again, it'd be a lot more fun if you got it way earlier, and I don't see how this is game breaking at all to get at level 9. I feel like at level 13, if they're going to give you this new help mechanic, they should augment it more and make it do additional things. Maybe you could help 2 creatures at the same time. Maybe you're able to help yourself. I mean, that's just me trying to fix this class. Otherwise, I say just skip it. If you want to play a really cool, brainy rogue, because of course you do, that's super fun, play Inquisitor. If they put more of that kind of flavor into Mastermind, it could have been something, but I feel like all of their good ideas got nutted out on Inquisitor, and they're like, well, we have one more to fill in. Oh, I don't know, maybe he can help people really well. This last one is also not going to ruffle many feathers when I think about it. It's just one I really want to talk about. And that is Beastmaster Ranger. Now, they've augmented this already to make it better, but it's still different and bad. They really only changed one specific thing, and that is being able to use your bonus action to command your animal friend to attack, instead of where it used to be is using your action to tell your animal to attack, which is, we can all agree, the worst idea, and I have no idea why they thought that that was a good one. So old school rules, you were able to pick an animal as long as it was medium and challenge rating 1/4 or below. They say like panther, dog, falcon. Now throughout the leveling score as this goes, that challenge rating doesn't move. It stays at 1/4, which is, as you can see, not sustainable. You outlevel it almost immediately. Your animal friend does get additional stat benefits from you as a player, as your proficiency score goes up and your hit die goes up and all that fun stuff, but it's still not enough to catch this creature up to you when it just gets a 1 to its AC and a 1 to its attack rolls, and it can't second attack until you are level 11. Insane. The new change on the Beast Companion is a better change for sure. Now you get to pick whatever kind of animal you want and then fit it into 3 different stat blocks. So if I wanted to have a battle chicken, I can just shove it into one of these stat blocks. It'll have a predetermined array of skills that will level up with me as I go, and I'm not stuck with, chicken HP. By the way, help me figure this one out. If you were going to be a ranger with a chicken beast companion, would you give him the terrain stat block, or would you give them the sky stat block? Beast of the land sounds like the right choice, but the beast of the land also gets a climbing speed, which confuses me with a chicken. I mean, it gets a charge ability, which does feel right, but for some reason, a chicken being able to just climb walls as fast as it can walk sounds unholy. And the other option is that your chicken friend can fly, which sounds wrong, but sounds way more accurate than it just like spider climbing up the wall. I don't know, I lie awake thinking about this quite often, so let me know in the comments what you think, and hopefully I can figure it out. No, this is all stuff that most of us knows. What still makes this class one of the worst is the additional abilities that it gets continuing forward. A level 7 exceptional training gives your pet the ability to take several different bonus action skills that you have to use your bonus action to get them to do, and this would be dash, disengage, and help. So again, you get a whole new ability. This lets you do help on your bonus action, and this one is also mobile because it's a whole nother creature. I think this sucks. I think your animal should get a second hit here. I think this is where the animal should get second attack. I mean, these stat blocks aren't very impressive. They're D6s and D4s. Why not let them do 2? At level 11, with Bestial Fury, you now can use your second attack or multi-attacks on the animal that you choose, which is just far too late for this poor chicken to be useful. It needed that a while ago. Instead, I would make the next ability be at this level instead of the 15th level that you get sharing spells. So any spell that targets yourself will then be shared, and your chicken friend will also get all the benefits of that spell. This is a really cool ability, one that should be exploited with other spells other than the ones Ranger gets, don't you think? I mean, at level 15 as a Ranger, you didn't multiclass to get there. You've been playing that Ranger for like 20 decades. People kept canceling on appointments. No one's showing up to games. It's going to take you a while to get to level 15. If you got a little early, that gives you more time to pick up different spells. And I am a huge advocate for multiclassing Ranger with Sorcerer. There's a lot of fun spells that Ranger gets that twin casting meta magic really brings out a lot of new fun with. Twin casting Hunter's Mark just saves you time. You don't have to recast it again. Twin casting Lightning Arrow, twin casting Hail of Thorns, twin casting Ensnaring Strike, plus the additional spells you get from Sorcerer don't have to be very charisma based. They can be like Shield, getting Shield to add 5 to your AC, and Eduardo's. That's very handy. That you unfortunately won't be able to do if you just go straight Ranger, unless you take Magic Initiate, which is a bit of a waste on a feat, as Ranger only gets them every 4 levels. And at level 15, honestly, I think they should get a whole new ability that lets your pet attack 3 times. Why not? What the hell else is he doing? His damage die is hell low. The animal is the point that you are playing this Ranger. Why not make the animal more badass? Okay, for our fourth one, this is when I'm going to start pissing people off. So this subclass belongs to a monk, and there are a lot of people who have different opinions on what the worst monk is. People say the Way of the Long Death is the worst. A lot of people say Sun Soul is the worst, which I disagree. I mean, the Sun Soul isn't the best, but in certain situations, throw Sun Soul into Strahd, you'd sweep that entire campaign. Situational, but not the best. Anyway, I'm rambling. But almost unanimously, when you ask a group of people what the worst monk is, they will say Way of the Four Elements monk. So my choice for the fourth worst subclass to play is going to be Way of the Drunken Master monk. Now hold on, put your keyboards down before you start yelling at me about how wrong I am and making fun of my speech impediment. Besides the fact that Way of the Four Elements is way more intriguing and interactive than the abilities that Way of the Drunken Master gets. There are far more synergistic multi-class abilities and situations that it can take advantage of compared to anything that the Way of the Drunken Master does. Way of the Four Elements spells in D&D are casted, unlike Baldurs Gate 3, where they are class actions. So in Baldurs Gate 3, you can use 4-element spells while you're raging. 5e, though, they are spells, but they do not take any kind of component. They don't take material, somatic, verbal, meaning you are completely able to cast these in silence, underwater, in fucking space. And not only do you get a lot of very, very, very good spells, the repertoire is fantastic. Downside is you do get them later than spellcasters do. For example, you're getting the Fireball equivalent at level 11, but Fireball is nowhere near how powerful and strong this monk can be. We get Hold Person by just spending key points. One of the first ones you can get is Fists of Unbroken Air. This skill is basically inflict wounds, but ranged. Not only does it do 3d10 damage, but it's upcastable by spending key. And if they fail their strength save, they're shoved 20 foot back and they're prone. If you don't want to push them forward, you can rip them towards you with Water Whip, which is literally the same stats and situations. Now, waiting super late to get these spells is a bummer. I mean, level 6 to cast Shatter, that sucks. But you're also getting all of the inherent monk stuff. Flurry of Blows, Stunning Strikes, Extra Attack. But a Way of the Drunken Master, what they get at level 3 is proficiency in brewing supplies and being able to get a free disengage after they use Flurry of Blows. Their speed goes up by 10, but you're a melee fighter. Why is it important for you to get the hell out? I could see the utility in that if things are going wrong, for sure. The first skill that defines this subclass is retreating. Boo. At level 6, we do get Tipsy Sway. Standing up from prone only takes 5 feet instead of half your speed, but really nothing to write home about. I mean, just stand up. You can use Step of the Wind with your bonus action to double your speed. So getting up from prone for a monk is like, who cares? You also get Redirect Attack. If someone tries to melee attack you and there is another creature next to you, you're able to spend a key point to make them re-roll it to hit the other guy. This is more useful than that, but you also need to be in a situation where you are fighting more than one person at a time. 2 melee combatants have to be on you when that happens, as well as the first attack has to miss. You don't get to just shove every attack to the next person, because that would be very broken. At level 11, you get Drunkard's Luck. If you're making an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can spend 2 key points to undisadvantage yourself. This is only useful if you're making any of these actions currently at disadvantage. You can then make it a regular roll. I feel like this is nothing, and it could have easily just been put at level 3 when you get your cool disengage move. I mean, you have to spend key points for it. It's not free. And it doesn't do a lot. And 2 key points is 2 Flurry of Blows. That's 4 attacks gone to undisadvantage yourself. I feel like it should be less. And if you did get it earlier, it would help make a really good monk rogue class. So a rogue could use that Drunkard's ability to get out of not getting a sneak attack. And at level 17, you get the only good ability that Way of the Drunk Master gets with Intoxicated Frenzy. When you make Flurry of Blows, you're able to add 3 more unarmed attacks to that 2 that you spend. You can't do more than 5, but each one of those 3 new attacks has to be on a different person. So the situation of this is you have to have 4 people around you to do this trick. But as we remembered earlier, when you use Flurry of Blows, you automatically disengage and get more speed. So you are able to move around the battlefield and hit tons of people. So really, there just has to be 4 targets within, I think this is gonna be like 50 feet of you, which is pretty dope. But again, you're level 17. Your wizard friend just cast Wish and asked all of those people to die. So I feel like this could have been the first ability, but lowered. I feel like you could have gotten an additional strike to your Flurry of Blows at every point that we leveled up and got a new ability. I feel like your Flurry of Blows could have had 3, provided that the 3rd attack is on a different person. And then again, at Tipsy Sway, we could have got another one. At Drunkard's Luck, we could have got another one. At level 17, why not have 6 attacks? You're level 17, you're a god now. Really cool tactic, poor execution. Especially since you don't need to be intoxicated for any of these skills. Adding some kind of like semi-rage type of ability to this, as long as you're intoxicated. I mean, being intoxicated comes with plenty of downfalls, just like rage does. So why not have that additional like rage drunk 2 points damage die? I feel like that could have been a really creative opportunity that just got kind of missed. Honestly, Jackie Chan deserves better. When people think of Warlock subclasses that they don't like, Undying seems to be the most talked about and most changed. If you look up YouTube videos on this class, there are tons of people remodeling Undying to make it more fun and more useful. D&D Shorts did my favorite version of Undying. Definitely check that out. But I don't think Undying is that garbage. It's very situational, like a lot of things. When you put this up against the other situational subclass that I'm choosing for the worst subclass, Undying Warlocks being able to basically just have Sanctuary on all the time, as long as they're fighting undead, it's gonna come up a lot more than the Fathomless Warlock. The Undying Warlock can cheat death and heal immediately when they do a saving throw. They have advantage against all diseases, and they get additional Spare the Dying, which gets augmented to heal that person so they get back up and start fighting. All of these are far more useful than being able to breathe underwater. Okay, yeah, I know the Fathomless gets more abilities. They get their cool tentacle guy, and we all love him. He's great. But the spectral tentacle that the Fathomless Warlock gets is just a bad spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapon can be increased and leveled to do additional D8 force damage. Force being one of the least resisted damages in the entire game, while the Fathomless Tentacle does cold. Not the most resisted, somewhere in the middle, especially since you're going to be an underwater sea boy. Most big underwater creatures are resistant or immune to cold. So out the gate, you are handicapped in your favored terrain, so to speak. How many times have you played in a D&D game where in that campaign you fought against undead? Now think how many times you played a D&D campaign where you were completely submerged underwater to the point where you were having to fight and act underwater. Every campaign I've ever fought with, I have had to fight undead. I can count how many times I've had underwater fights on one hand, and I've been playing for over a decade. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe my DMs don't do enough underwater fights, and I have to agree. It sounds very fun. Now all of their abilities are underwater based. They do get Guardian Coil at level 6, being able to reduce damage if your tentacle is near the attacker with your reaction. Now, your tentacle only does a d8. It does level up to 2d8 at level 10, but it doesn't get any stronger than that. Mind you, Spiritual Weapon does 2d8 if you cast it with a third slot, and then 3d8 if you cast it with a fourth. What super annoys me though is at level 10, you get an ability called Grasping Tentacles, and what this does is it gives you a spell that warlocks already get. Edvar's Black Tentacles is a great spell. The problem with it though is its AoE is huge. Your teammates are most likely going to be caught in it. You're a warlock, so you get it already. The perks to it though are the Fathomless gets to be able to cast it without using a slot once a day, and they are unable to break concentration by taking damage. That's very cool. And oddly enough, you get temporary hit points equal to your warlock level. So at this point, you would get 10 temporary hit points for just getting your tentacles out. I get really bugged when you get a new spell from having a subclass and they give you a spell that you could have already had. You could be a Fey patron warlock with this spell. This spell is huge. It's going to affect the terrain, either positive or negative. And now this is your loaded gun. This is the spell you're going to use in the big fight. I mean, you have to. You get it for free. You get temporary hit points from it. Why wouldn't you? I don't know. I feel like at level 10, I wish I just got a second tentacle friend. I think that would have worked out better. And maybe this spell is just one of the spells that you always know and remember. Or they could have augmented it so that your friends get advantage on the saves or something. I don't know, I'm bitter about it for some reason. At level 14, you do get I guess, a helpful spell. Fathomless Purge comes with a teleport spell that you could do once a day. This ability, not really a spell, lets you wrap up 5 people that you choose as long as they're 30 feet in an area that you also choose. You wrap them up with your gross tentacle hands, and then you teleport away into a body of water up to a mile away. So because they put a mile cap on it, this is now only to get the hell out of a fight. 1 mile is not far enough to really travel. I mean, it's just a few blocks, really. Druids get abilities to transport you across the entire planet as long as there's a tree. I feel like if they got rid of the mile and just made it plane of existence, why not? It's level 14. Wizards have had teleportation for a while. I just love this concept because I love boats and I love like creepy sea creature stuff, and krakens are awesome, and anything that pushes to more ocean travel in D&D, I'm so head over heels ready to fucking go. But this totally missed the mark and made something really cool as being a warlock that controls the sea and is gifted powers from Leviathan to just like a squid tentacle gimmick. You just let me down. Alright guys, I hope you liked my video. Let me know in the comments if you think I got it wrong. I also want to say congratulations, Jake Geller. You won our weekly raffle. This jacket has already been set up to be shipped to your house, so you'll be getting that soon. I'm giving away another one of my dice hoodies this Sunday to any one of the members on my YouTube memberships. So usually I just raffle a prize to anyone on the adventure tier or higher. This whole month I'm just picking one from any tier randomly. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, you can click the join me button or the link in the description. Also, we are playing D&D weekly here to test out new beta forms of D&D 5e content. We're doing D&D Shorts, Ryoko's Guide to Spirit Realms right now. If you wanted to play with us, you just have to join the Discord link that is inside the description as well. And I would love to thank all of my sponsors, but especially these guys right here. Everybody in the adventure category or higher gets put into the ending credits and in an automatic raffle that holds every Sunday. Okay guys, thank you so much. Bye, I love you.